Winter is coming, which means that you're going to be doing a lot of changes at your homestead, in your garden, getting everyone ready for the freezing nights and chilly winter days. But something that you don't have to worry about is going to be your rabbits. Rabbits naturally have a beautiful fur coat that keeps them pretty warm throughout the winter, and they actually prefer the colder months as to the heat of the summer. You're going to find that your rabbits are invigorated with the colder temperatures, and they actually are oftentimes going to be a lot more playful during this time as well. But during this time, there are a few things that you want to keep in mind in order to help your rabbits have an even better winter, because there's definitely a few things in regards to their shelter, their food, water, and general health that you can be doing to really make it a better winter for them. Freezing temperatures and wind chills are coming this way over the winter, or they're at least bound to be. I know we've already had some really cold nights and days here where we live, so I know winter is just creeping on in. But as you get ready, shelter is going to be the number one thing that you want to focus on. And over the entire year of keeping your rabbits, you definitely want to make sure that you're protecting them from any type of thing that could be getting them wet. So you really want to make sure that they're under a really nice roofed structure that will keep them dry all year. And this is no different during the winter. We actually have our rabbits inside of a barn where there is a horse stall that we have set aside just for them. And that's where we have their cages set up. And this allows them to stay really dry with a nice roof, as well as at least 3 sides you want to have around them to help protect them from the wind, making sure that they have a nice enclosed space that's nice and protected. You can also put them in a shed, even just a rabbit hutch that has all of the sides covered, a hole for them to go in and out, but they really do have that area that is safe from getting wet and safe from the wind. Meat rabbits do have a really good system to keep them warm, so there isn't going to be too much to worry about. But again, just really keeping them dry and out of the wind is going to be top of mind during this time. Another aspect that most people do not think about during the winter, definitely during the summer, I know we think about this, but it is ventilation in their shelter. Make sure that you have a way to let air in and out and ventilate through. This is going to help kill down some of the ammonium smells from their urine, any of their feces, and also just give them a nice ventilation into the space. And this is really important all year within their shelter, both in the summer and in the winter, so don't forget about it. In our next video, we're going to talk a little bit more about breeding rabbits, but I did want to touch upon what it's like to actually have baby rabbits during the winter, because you definitely can breed your rabbits during the winter, and you can have both baby tiny kits as well as just younger rabbits outside during the winter. As long as they follow that same structure that you have for any of your older adults rabbits with a shelter, you also want to make sure that you have a nice nesting box set up with them with lots of bedding and hay inside of it to really keep them warm. And you want to make sure that the mom is really good at being a mom. She's able to pull a significant amount of fur during this time to really keep her babies warm. And if you're seeing that she isn't pulling enough fur, then first off, you might want to check and make sure that she's going to be a good mom. We usually like to do a 3 strikes you're out type of rule with moms. So if they aren't pulling for 3 times in a row, they're not really great moms, then we will retire them from breeding. But if you're just seeing the first time, maybe she wasn't good, and the second time she gets better, then she stays. She's still going to be in the breeding circle for this. But what you can do is you can also supplement some of that fur if she doesn't pull enough by earlier in the year when any of your rabbits are shedding, you can pull any of that fur and set it aside for this time. Or you can also take some cotton out of any old blankets or old pillows and add that as well. And that will create a little extra bedding and warmth for your rabbits, because they are going to need their own fur coat, especially when they're babies and they're kind of that naked mole rat stage and they don't have too much fur yet. Just like humans, rabbits need their own beverages as well all winter, and that's going to be providing your rabbits with enough fresh and on frozen water. Now, you're gonna definitely notice that during the winter, water is gonna freeze a lot faster. There's sometimes we'll put water in, an hour later, all of it's frozen. So really think about what type of methods you're gonna wanna use in order to give your rabbits water throughout the day. And you're probably gonna wanna make sure to at least fill your rabbits water around 2 times per day. If you do have new kits and there's multiple rabbits in one cage, you definitely might want to be doing that a little bit more. But over the summer, we'll use an automated watering system. And then in the winter, we actually do have to use just bringing out new fresh bowls of water because they do freeze, which is definitely adds a little extra time in your day. But it's really important that your rabbits are getting a significant amount of water during this time, because if they do not have enough water, then they won't actually eat their food, which they really need to help provide some additional energy, as they are going to be burning a lot more energy during this time in order to keep warm. And that brings us into our last point, which is definitely making sure that you have enough feed for your rabbits. As I mentioned earlier, your rabbits are going to be using a lot more energy in order to keep warm. So you might want to up the food that you give them, the hay that you give them a little bit without overfeeding them, because you don't just want to make chubby rabbits. But give them a little bit more food, maybe test out what you usually do, add a little bit more on top, and see if they're clearing their food every night. If they still are, then you can kind of go up from there and test it out. Same with hay, you're definitely going to want to add a lot more hay than you usually do. Again, not overfeeding them, but you can usually do around a lump of hay the size of your rabbits, and then you can go from there and kind of see how that goes. Something else that we like to do as it starts to get a little bit colder is we'll add some Boss, which is black oil sunflower seeds. You can find these at the grocery store or online. I'll link something onto here as well. But what's really great about these is it's just gonna add a little more fats into their diet to help keep them warm over the winter. And all you really need to do is top the feed with this, put around 6-7 seeds only, not a crazy amount, because you definitely, again, don't want to be overfeeding them. But this is going to be really helpful in helping to add some additional feed and warmth into their diet. Rabbits love winter. It's definitely a time where they're going to be a lot more playful, and it's not a time that you need to stop everything that you're doing and reconfigure their whole entire setup. As long as they're protected from getting wet, as well as large amounts of wind, you're feeding them, giving them water throughout the day, then there really isn't too much that you need to worry about. We actually got our rabbits in the winter and we've had a lot of success. You might just need to make a little more trips out to give them fresh water. But beyond that, you're gonna see that it's really pretty similar to the rest of the year. I hope this is helpful, and we're gonna actually be talking about breeding rabbits in the winter. So you're definitely gonna wanna stay tuned for that, and I'll add the video up here. See you guys next time. Bye.